Good morning. We're live. I think that for at least the last 50 years, the United States of America has um, perpetrated a non-violence is revolution campaign that I think is the reason why we're not going to see change in the United States as Black people, as queer people, as disabled people, wherever you are. If you're not a white cisgender man, you're not going to see change in the United States. This is not a call for violence, okay? This is a call for exodus. I apologize for not having my hair together before I got on here. I'll explain later why I'm so fidgety about my hair today, okay? I don't know. I thought I wanted it in a bun. I don't want it in a bun. Good morning. My name is Stephanie Perry. I'm a house sitter. I'm the creator of House Sitter School and the co-creator of Exodus Summit. And I help Black people, Black women take sabbaticals, career breaks, bop around the world, move abroad as a nomad. If these things sound good to you, go ahead and hit subscribe. This is me waiting for you to hit this. I know you didn't do it. Thank you. And then turn on notifications, ring the notification bell. You'll be notified when I go live or when I post a new video. Welcome. Welcome, friends. Say good morning in the chat if you're here. Good morning. Hey, Celeste. Hey, 6 weeks later. Hello, Charlesetta. Hey, Adelia. I did, and I hated it. I buy whatever hair dye I don't buy a consistent hair color. Right? I buy whatever color I find and I dye my roots, and messed it up. I don't know. This is some sort of awful color. It's called chocolate copper, but it's not chocolate copper. Between the hair dye and my skin breaking out, I really am not feeling the cutest today. So I was like, well, let me put it in a bun. And then I put the bun in and I hated the bun. So I'm going to have to go back over this. The problem is these good hair dyes down here. What's it called? Schwarzkopf. It's hard to dye over top of the dye. So I'm going to have to go brown, I think. Dark brown, which is not my fave. Messed it up. I just be going into the stores and buy whatever color. I don't buy a consistent color. Normally, I don't mind that, but yesterday I did it and I was like, hated it. Okay. I have a lot of gray in the middle and this is where it's the worst. Yo, what color is that? That is not copper chocolate. What color is that? So whatevs. Whatevs. Hi, everyone. All right. You said good morning in the chat, please. Hi. If you haven't done that yet, thank you, Suzanne. I appreciate your support. If you haven't done that yet, say hello in the chat. And if you, thank you, Jalen. If you're watching the replay, hello, friends in the future, say hi in the comments. Okay. Thank you. Thank you kindly. Let's talk about this. This is not a conversation about it's time to get violent. As you know, Black people make up, I said 16% the other week, and y'all were like, correction, 13. Black people make up 13% of the United States population. I don't think Black people's violence is called for. I'm not nonviolent. Do what you got to do. I think it's white violence that is necessary to create a revolution. It was white violence that kicked off the civil rights movement. A lot of sentiment regarding the civil rights movement changed after some very public and prominent white violence, right? White people violence against Black people, against children, right? We know about the 16th Street church bombing and the 4 Black girls who lost their lives in Sunday school, who were killed during Sunday school, right? White people violence is not a new thing. I think that we've just had 50 plus years of education in the United States, miseducation, of reprogramming in the United States that has told people that nonviolence is the way that change happens, right? Instead of violence. I have a lot of different directions I want to go, but let me just try to have this conversation and hope that it makes sense and hope you understand why I'm saying the answer is leave those people. Okay. The answer, I think, is leave those people. I saw something just today, just this morning, saying that after the Supreme Court basically took the legs out from under the Voting Rights Act, that, and then a couple of states have already redrawn redistrict their maps to give Black and brown people less of a voice, right? Through votes. I saw people saying, oh, they woke the bear because Black people are like voicing our upset. But no, didn't wake the bear because we're not the bear. We are not the people in power. Sonia, gerrymandering like crazy. Okay, so they're redrawing lines. It hadn't been a week. It had not been a week. And 2 states were like, okay, let's get it. But we're not the bear, right? The people with the claws, if the bear's power is in its claws or in its strength, the people with the strength are the white people in power. And they don't care. They do not care. The white people in power do not care to take any action that is going to give them less power. I think there's a hope that people can see how important it is to take some sort of action towards preserving the rights of all people. But that is not how whiteness works. That's not how white supremacy would not have taken a hold round the world. White supremacist ideology would not have taken hold round the world if white people were able to act in favor of all people. What we know is that white people value whiteness over everything. Whiteness over everything. And so we can't trust them to have our best interest at heart. So back to the woke the bear thing. The white people in power are not giving up their power. They're terrified of repercussions, right? They're terrified of having to pay the price. I think, right? I'm not a historian. I wouldn't even call myself a student of history. I'm just a Black woman who went to school at a couple of HBCUs in her day. And high school. I went to high school and HBCUs, and that's what I know. I know what I was taught in those schools. And I don't think that the civil rights acts that were put into place, right? The Voting Rights Act, and I don't think those things were a result of conscience or doing the right thing. We'd already seen the people who signed, who were like, okay, we got to do something about these civil rights acts. We got to get these rights on paper in some way. Those very people watched Nazis be prosecuted in Nuremberg. They knew that individuals could be held responsible for the actions of the state. And what they didn't want was to be seen on camera, committing violence against Black people, which is what was happening during the civil rights movement, right? These white people in power were seen on camera committing violence against Black people, and they didn't want to be the next Nuremberg. We got some power, some rights, some justice. I'm not saying we got justice. We got something, but it wasn't about an appeal to conscience. It wasn't about an appeal to what is right. I don't think American white people have a conscience. I think it was bred out of them. Right? I think it was bred out of them. I'm complaining about my skin today because I'm not getting sun here in Bogota, and I'm wearing sunscreen for vanity purposes, which I have never done in my life. I've never been a sunscreen wearer, but now I'm using retinol, which means I have to wear sunscreen. I'm looking ghostly and ghastly, and my skin is breaking out. I'm not right. And it's because I'm used to having good skin, because I am Lucille Evans's granddaughter, right? I am Connie Perry's daughter. We have good skin. There are genetic factors that have blessed me with good skin. And then I moved myself to an environment where my skin cannot be at its best. Right? And I'm frustrated about that. There are people who have had their soul, their conscience bred out of them. And I think that is what the American white person is, right? If your ancestry, if your ancestral line includes people who enslaved other people, if it includes people who massacred other people, if it includes then people who decided that they wanted to rewrite history and say, oh no, we didn't do that, right? If it includes Nazis, if it includes these people, you have genetically no soul. I'm sorry to tell you, you have no conscience. If that is who you were bred to, if you can't put them things together and then be an actual human. I think a thing that one day we'll say, these people are humans and these people are not humans, and these people are not humans because they don't have a soul. They don't have conscience. I think okay. Anyway, appeal to conscience, not going to work. And that's not what happened in the first place, right? The appeal to conscience doesn't work. And I think that is a reason for the need for an exodus. I think if you're Black, if you're brown, if you're queer, if you're a woman who wants to be in charge of your own life, if you have a disability, if you have an illness, if you're not Christian or like their version of Christian, even, you know, not even Christians are safe. I think you need to be a very specific type of soulless, not Jesus following Christian. I think it's time to make a plan to leave, because you can't expect fairness from people who don't have it to give. You can't expect good treatment from people who don't have it to give. Hi, Jenny. Appeal to conscience doesn't work. They don't have a soul, but not because they don't have a soul, because they don't see anyone who is like them as fully human. I think that's the soul. I think that's what they're missing, is the soul. I think the soul is the thing that helps you to see another person as a person. I think that we're talking the same talk, Jenny. I think I'm just using different words. I think the soul is the thing that reaches out to you. Did y'all see the man today from, what state was he in? Louisiana. He had adopted children, and he had adopted Black children and white kids. I don't know if the white kids were adopted or not. And he said it never occurred to him that his Black adopted daughter would have a different life experience than his white kids. And then he believed in racism. He didn't really believe that racism was a real factor. This was a grown adult human man, old enough to get married. I don't know how old he was when he adopted this child, but he was old enough to get married and old enough to adopt a child. And he didn't believe racism until he saw it with his own eyes through his own daughter, right? That is soulless. Having to have an experience yourself to believe the experience is true is soullessness. I think that is soullessness, right? The soul, Tennessee, the soul is the thing that connects us. The soul is the thing that, yeah, so one day I got to look it up. The red thread that connects us all, right? I don't know who said it. I don't know when they said it. That's the soul, I think, right? The empathy, the compassion for other people. There are people who do not have it. They don't have it genetically. It was bred out of them. Wasn't my fault. I didn't do it. Don't get mad at me. But it was bred out of them. And that is a thing that those are the people that you're contending with if you live in the United States of America. The United States is not the only home of soulless people. White South Africans, also no soul. White Australians, no soul. Okay. But it is a real problem that we're going to have to come to terms with, address, so as not to continue to beat our heads up against the wall. I think if you're a Black person and you're committed to staying in the United States and fighting the fight, you got to know who you're fighting. And then still, even y'all, leave. Exodus. Leave them people. There may be time to come back after the fact, after it's burnt down. But in the meantime, child, leave. They're not the same type of person as you are. A couple of years ago, Rashida and I went to VidCon. It's a YouTube conference. It was in Anaheim, California. And I went to a panel where these white TikTokers, you know how I feel about young people in general, Gen Z, they think nothing existed before them. Those white kids actually said, we are the most politically active generation in US history. And I was like, I said, bitch, in my mind. I said, bitch, your grandparents were bombing churches. They were very politically active. Was it Ryan White? Them white people had when Ryan White was the first kid who had AIDS, whose name we knew, right, in the media. That people were your parents were very politically active. Those were your parents harassing Ryan White. Was it after he died? Right? Your parents have been very politically active. That's a problem I have with Gen Z in general. They think they invented everything. Your parents were very politically active, right? You think Medgar Evers killed himself? Child, tell Merle Evers y'all are the most politically active generation in history. What? I was flabbergasted. My flabbers were gasted. Is that what they be saying now? I was flabbergasted. I had to get up out the room. Right? I'm like, I can't. I was like Whitney Houston in that meme. Am I the only one that heard this? Are y'all kidding me? They believe that. That gaslighting, soullessness, okay? That exact gaslighting, it didn't happen. That exact who you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes? That is soullessness in action. That is no empathy, no compassion, no seeing other people as humans in action. Those were your grandparents, your nana, your papa, your mama, your daddy. That's what I'm talking about when I say when I say that I'm very extremely pessimistic about what can happen in the United States with these people. So leave. I don't know that I gave a good introduction. Did I tell y'all that I live in Bogota, Colombia? Anybody who's new? If I didn't, I live in Bogota, Colombia. Sometimes when I talk as though I'm in the United States, but I'm absolutely not. I have 4 years of legal residency in Mexico. I got a legal residency card that says, Puerto Vivo en Mexico. I can live in Mexico, right? I got papers that say Mexican lady, okay? But my home is currently in Bogota, Colombia. So don't get confused. Every now and then when I say here, I mean there. When I say here, as in staying here, I mean staying in the United States. I forget sometimes. I forget. I got my papers, okay? I got my papers. I know my skin is really, House Sitting Retiree says no sun, less ability to take in vitamin D. And then when I add sunscreen, I've got even less vitamin D. I am taking vitamin D. I take Black Girl right around this corner. I have 3 empty bottles. Katrina can attest. I have 3 empty bottles of Black Girl sunscreen vitamin D3. The bottles are so nice that I don't want to throw them away, but I don't have any use for those bottles. But I do take vitamin D3. I went to the GYN the other day and she was like, what supplements do you take? And I told her I take D3 and she was like, good. I do take my D3, but my skin is looking, somebody told me the other day I wasn't dark skinned on a video. And I was like, it's the sun, it's the clouds. It's not my fault. I promise you I am dark skinned. It's just that I'm losing color by the day. I'll be in Mexico soon. So hopefully Mexico can fix me. I'll be in Mexico next week. Yeah, but when we go live, so there's an Exodus Summit meetup in Mexico next Sunday. Mexico Exodus Summit meetup in Mexico City next Sunday. And then I may go to the beach after. I haven't planned things, so it may not be happening. But I have my ticket to Mexico City. After that, I may go to the beach in Mexico, La Playa, to get back to being, listen, when the commenters will tell me anything, and most of the time I don't listen, but I took that personally. She was like, girl, you're not dark skinned. I was like, but I promise I am. Okay. It's just too cloudy here. Okay. Let me give you the link to join the Exodus Summit community so that you can get information on the Mexico City meetup. We have tomorrow in France, there's a meetup. I won't be there, of course. I'm not in France. You would know if I was in France. There are meetups, international and local US meetups happening all over the next, or for all the time. They're happening all the time. But let me get you the link to the Exodus Summit community. If you're a Black woman and you're like, I would love to hang out with some of these Black women and get to know them. Good news. We have a community for you to do that. The Exodus Summit community is exodussummit.com/community. We left Facebook. We're on a platform where we have to pay for it. So it's $1 to join, but just $1 one time, not $1 a month or $1 a year, just one time, $1. Join us. And then join us in the community, and then join us in some meetups. You saying I also need vitamin K, potassium? I probably get a good amount of potassium. I probably do based on the foods. Potatoes have potassium, right? Or did I make that up? I know bananas, but I think potatoes have potassium. I eat a lot of potatoes and avocados. I think I'm okay. Sonia, I miss y'all every year by a month. Just stay, go back, stay longer. Yeah. I know. This the luxury bucket list, when I talk bad about people, she'd be like, but let's put this in context. Sometimes I just want to talk bad about people. Sometimes she's saying Gen Z is raised by Gen X and boomers. It's not Gen Z's fault only. I'm aware. I just had a conversation the other day about Gen X parents. What did y'all do to these kids? What did y'all do to these kids? Get in the car. Okay? Y'all ain't got to live like that. Y'all ain't got to. Let's go. All right. I have notes. Let me look. Okay. So I wrote notes on the myth of nonviolence. And the first thing I wrote was that VidCon story, because it's not hypocrisy. I think we often view white people saying things hypocritical, like nonviolence is the pathway, when they are super violent people, right? We know they're super violent people. The march across the Selma March that is praised as such a nonviolent event was called Bloody Sunday. And when John Lewis was hit by that state trooper, he said he believed he was going to be killed. These are the people we let tell us that nonviolence is the answer. That is upsetting to me. It's also humorous, but not in a good way. It's very darkly humorous to me. These people are the people we let teach us for the last 50 years that nonviolence is the answer. Get out of my face. It's not hypocrisy, though. It's pathology. That is that soullessness in action. It's not hypocrisy. They're not hypocrites. They're soulless people. Okay. Again, I want to say this is not a call to violence. I'm not a nonviolent person, right? But this is not a call to violence for Black people. It's not as we've said, this is not our fight to fight. Let white people get violent, right? But without the threat of violence from the Nation of Islam, from the Black Panther Party, without the threat of violent reciprocation from Black people, also, we would have seen no change. Right? There was always the undercurrent of, if enough of these people arm themselves, if enough of these people switch sides, it wasn't really sides, but if enough of these people pivot in a different direction and go from marching unarmed to marching armed to pew pew, we're gonna have some problems, right? There has to be a threat of violence to have revolution. Without the threat of violence, there is no change. Years ago, I grew up in Delaware before we moved to Ohio, and then we moved back to Delaware. Our next door neighbors were what we would call today white fundamentalist Christians. And she had Vacation Bible School. And every summer we would spend 1 week at Vacation Bible School at our church. We would spend 1 week at Vacation Bible School at some other church. We would spend 1 week at her Vacation Bible School, right? And then we would go to our grandparents' house down in downstate. And the one thing I remember from that Vacation Bible School is she taught us, without the shedding of blood, there is no remission of sin. I still remember that. We moved when I was 9. So this was the year that I was 6 or 7 or 8, right? Without the shedding of blood, there is no remission of sin. That's Hebrews 9:22. I'll always remember that, right? I want y'all to remember, without the shedding of blood, there is no revolution. And these white people are not willing to shed their blood to lose power. They're not willing to shed their blood to lose power. Without the threat of violence, there is no revolution. And these white people are the ones who would have to shed their blood for change. They're not going to risk their lives to give up power. It's not happening. It's not going to happen, Captain. Okay? It's not going to happen, Captain. Okay? I don't know. I don't know if I have anything else to talk about. That's what I want to say. It is not possible, for the various reasons that I've laid out, for these American white people to create a safe environment for us Black people. It's not possible. This is not a call to violence. This is a call to exodus. Please make your plan and live somewhere else. I would skip the places with the most soulless of the soulless. I have made my own list. Okay, I made my own list. I would consider parts of South Africa are whiter and parts are Blacker. Johannesburg is a Blacker city. Cape Town is a whiter city. I would skip living in Cape Town. It's beautiful. Go visit. It's beautiful. The mountains, Table Mountain, Lion Mountain, they're beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And South Africa gave me a warm welcome. The first time I walked to Cape Town, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I had been to the Caribbean, but I had not been any place in Africa before with just Black people. But Cape Town is a different place than it was when I was there first time I went was 2017, went back in 2024, and the white South Africans had kind of had a return. They had a sort of exodus after Mandela came back in power and after whatever, but they had sort of a return themselves during COVID, and they're terrible people. White South Africans are terrible people. Black South Africans are some of my favorite people in the world, but the white South Africans are some of the worst. If I was going to do an exodus, I would skip Cape Town and I would skip Australia, visit Australia. It's beautiful. It's really cool. It's strange, right? It looks familiar, but different. Burger King is called something. It's really strange to see things look so familiar, but also be so opposite. Burger King is called something else. It looks exactly like Burger King, but it's not called Burger King, right? They don't have deer. I didn't see deer anyway. They have kangaroos. It's strange. Go visit, but don't live there. Okay. Yeah. Josette, I lived in Cape Town. Black folks are wonderful, 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 wonderful. There's top tier. You know, I rank things based on my limited experiences. I will rank a thing, and I have ranked top tier people. And Black people in South Africa are top tier, but the white people are the worst. White South Africans are the worst. Okay. The luxury bucket list. You can't back folks into a corner, give them nothing, take everything, and expect that to end well. I think that is exactly what they expect. And you see it over and over and over again. The economy is the most easiest example for everybody to grasp. Like, how do you think this is going to end? To um, see, even before the pandemic, what what you saw on the news was housing prices since the, let's say, the 90s. Housing prices have ballooned, pays have stayed the same. How do you expect people to live, especially if you're in the business of selling things to people? How are you going to expect people to live if you're in the very business of selling things to people, but you're not willing to pay people enough money to currently live in this world, in this city? It's ridiculous. It's stupid. But it's not hypocrisy, it's pathology. Okay? It's not hypocrisy, it's pathology. It's bred into them, it's soullessness. Okay? All right. Okay? It's not hypocrisy. I believe that. Okay, quote me. When you start going around the internet saying it's not hypocrisy, it's pathology, quote me, please. Okay. Stephanie Perry, Perry. It's not hypocrisy, it's pathology. It's not hypocrisy, it's pathology. There's something wrong with them. Okay. There's something wrong with them. So I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. Okay, but I was laying out my case for Exodus. My case for Exodus is that white people in the United States have spent 50 or 60 years. Listen, 1970 is about to be 60 years ago, not 50. Life is funny. These people have spent 50, 60 years drilling into us that nonviolent resistance is the answer, while being the most violent people. Okay? And we've believed it. We've believed it. And their grandchildren have believed it. And that's why we're not going to see revolution. We're not going to see change. Right? Unless, listen, it's not going to come from humans. It might be a big old asteroid or a COVID part 2, but it's not going to come from those people. It might come from another country coming in and being like, y'all going to change some things around here, right? When we're East China, that might be cause for revolution, but it's not going to come from the white people who live there. The white people who make up the people in power. It's not going to come from them. They don't have it to give. They don't have it. Okay? Ecobella, I have often wondered, is it in their culture to be cold and cruel? What a horrible way to be raised. It's horrible. It's horrible. But it is how they're raised. And it is how they are genetically made up today. Today, they're genetically made up to be inhuman. I don't have good examples. Most of the friends, so as I said, we moved to Ohio when I was a kid. Most of the friends that looking back, most of the friends that I had grandparents who were not born in the United States. Even in like my work husbands and stuff, when I had jobs, once people were from Poland, he always said he was born on a boat when they crossed over from Poland. He was born like weeks after they got here from Poland. My other work husband, his people were Dutch, right? There is a different type of white American person who was born from the same white American people who did the worst, right? Did the worst things in the world. And yeah, they are cruel. And so I don't know that I have experience being friends with those kids, right? I don't know those kids. I know the kids whose grandparents or parents moved here as like people that I spent a lot of time around. But just like going to school and being on the school bus, the closest I got to them was just being on the school bus and being in classes with them people. And yeah, that's how they're raised. They're absolutely raised to be cold and cruel. And they're genetically made up to be cold and cruel. I don't think there's any hope. I don't think there's any hope. I'm not praising China. I don't know, right? I'm just saying that China, they got the power. China got the power, right? And so what I always talk about is how if the United States is at the point where Germany was in 1940, right? Looking forward, what we can expect is for the United States to kind of get carved up like parts of what Germany had, the German Empire got carved up. And I think part of the United States will get given to China. I'm not praising China. I don't. I don't. Okay. I'm not praising any. There's no paradise. There's no perfect country with perfect people. There are better people. There are better countries. I don't live in China. I live in Colombia, right? But I do think part of the United States will become Mexico again. Part of the United States will become Canada. Part of it will become China. Part of it will become EU. That's what I think. All right. That's what I think. Um, the beautiful ones. It's not genetics, it's culture. So did you see there was some, where did I learned a lot of things from watching TV and movies. Okay, whatever. I'm not a historian, but I do know that there was a very famous study on the survivors, the children of the survivors of the Holocaust. Okay. The children and grandchildren of the survivors of the Holocaust genetically were changed by that event. So there were mental health concerns, like much significant genetic markers for things like anxiety, genetic markers for things. Your genetics do change based on who you're like bred with. Like, no kidding. Breeding sounds weird when you're talking about human people, but your DNA comes from the people that you come from, right? Just like I talk about, Lucille Evans had great skin. I'm used to having great skin because Lucille Evans was my grandmother. And now, right now, I don't have great skin. I don't like it. Environmental factors are overruling genetics. So it is culture, but it is also genetics. I don't think we have to look at this as a nature versus nurture conversation. I think it's nature and nurture. I think it's both. I think it's both. I think it's nature and nurture, right? There are people in my family who I did not meet, but that you can see them in me. My other grandmother, I never met her. She died at 54, I believe. I never met her. But when I look at that picture of her, I'm like, oh, look at that. I posted a picture of her on YouTube, on my YouTube post one time, and people are like, what a warm smile. Look at those warm eyes. That's you. That's you. I didn't make that lady. Genetics, DNA. She's in here. I used to be thinner. I have been thin for short periods of time, but I used to be thinner. And the bigger I get, the bigger my face gets. And I'm like, oh, this is a different face. But you know whose face I see? My grandma. That's her face. That's this part right here. That's her. The chin, the profile. That's her. Right? Genetics are real. It's real. Nature and nurture, they work together. I don't think we need to look at it as one or the other. And I think that looking at it only as nurture, right? Only as environment, only as raising people, as the way people were raised, as culture, is giving you false hope. I think that looking at these people and saying, well, it's the way they were raised, or it's the way society, it's the way patriarchy, it's the way capitalism. I think that's a thing that gives Black people in the United States false hope and determines them to stay and fight. That's why I talk so much about what white people really are, because it's their nature. It's their nature. Get up out of there. Get away from them. I believe that. You don't have to believe that. Stick around if you still want to move abroad, but you don't want to dislike white people. I think you can still learn from this community and this channel. Okay. But that's where I'm coming from. That's the time I'm on. That's the time I'm on. It's in them. What's in you is going to come out. You ever see people posting pictures of themselves in childhood and they'll be like, um, I came out as queer to my parents and they were like, no kidding. And then they showed me this picture from when I was 6, right? If it's in you, it's going to come out. Same with soullessness. If you don't have it, we're going to see that. We're going to see it. Now, there are things that could have been done to protect oppressed people in the United States against the soulless people. And people in the United States have actively chosen not to do those things, right? So remember when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, right? And then the Supreme Court just last week basically overturned the Voting Rights Act. We've had Democratic presidents and Democratic Congress and Senate at least 3 different times since the Voting Rights Act was put in place, right, that could have secured the vote, right? That could have, the laws, instead of relying on giving the Supreme Court the power to overturn things, we've had, what's his name? Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden both had the opportunity to secure the vote for Black people. They all three, I said both, all three, they had the opportunity to secure abortion access for women, and they chose not to. We cannot wait and appeal to people's idea of what's right. If you are an oppressed person, you cannot wait and just appeal to them doing the right thing. You have to take agency for you and for your family and go where you can have the life that you would fight for in the United States. Instead of deciding that you're going to live in the United States and you're going to fight for XYZ, you can go to places and have XYZ, right? You can just go somewhere and have it. That's what I'm on. That's what we talk about here, okay? Welcome, subscribe, hit the like button. If you're already sick of me, you can still hit the like button before you go, or share. Don't like the video. If you're sick of me, if you hit the like button, YouTube is going to recommend more videos from me. So if you're sick of me, before you leave, share the video, okay? If you're not sick of me, like the video, okay? Am I talking right? You can stay, hi Kiara, you could stay in the United States and you could fight and struggle, or you could just go someplace and have the things for you and your children and your grandchildren. You could have those things, right? We have a lot of people concerned about like what is fair and what is cheating. I want to say I said something one time about GLP-1s, but I'm not a GLP-1s is cheating person. I'm not on that GLP-1s is cheating, right? All right. What I said was I think GLP-1s are going to make people no longer have an appetite for other things. If they mess with your appetite for food, they also mess with your appetite for other things and that you enjoy in life. And I don't want that. Okay. I want to say that. But we're on a place in the internet and in the world where people will be like, XYZ is cheating. This is cheating. That is cheating. I'm on a take advantage of your advantages kick. I believe in taking advantage of advantages. I don't know what Sambo soldiers are, Benita. You tell us. I don't know what Sambo soldiers are. You tell us. Take advantage of your advantages, right? So people will tell you that leaving is cheating. You're learning that from the same people who say nonviolence is the answer, but are very violent. Okay. The idea that taking advantage of your advantages is cheating sounds like only something oppressed people would buy into. Okay. Am I clear on that? Right. I believe in taking advantage of your advantages. I brought up the GLP-1 thing because I remember saying it, and I don't think I was clear what I was saying. And there are people out here who are very obsessed with you have to do it the hard way. You have to do it what is viewed as the hardest way. I'm not a struggle soldier. I don't believe in struggle. I don't want to struggle. Thank you. No, indeed. I don't believe in that. Do I look like do I look like I was made to struggle? I do not. You think my hair would be this luxurious if I was supposed to live a struggle life? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think this is the look of a woman who was made for struggle. And so I wanted to be clear about that. We're not doing things the hard way. I don't believe in doing things the hard way. I don't know who could misinterpret that, but some people will, right? No, indeed. No, indeed. Stephanie means crowned with glory and honor. It's my name. My name. Crowned Stephanie is the female version of Stephen, and it means crowned with glory and honor. Okay? I don't believe in struggle. I don't want that for you. I live in Bogota. Okay? I live in Bogota. I live in Colombia where I do not have to guard myself against my neighbors. When I have a house guest here, I am intentional about locking the door when I leave. But when I don't have a house guest here, the people on this floor, they're not coming in here. They're not coming in. I'm more likely to lock myself out. I got a security guard downstairs. I'm not worried about arming myself against my neighbors. Crowned with glory and honor. Okay. Okay, so Clarence Thomas, Black MAGA. There are people, and mostly white, mostly Black men. They're mostly men. There are people who believe that instead of fighting or flighting, I'm a fan of flight over fight, right? They think the answer is join. If you can't beat them, join them, right? If there's a whole, if you can't beat them, join them contingency. Mostly in Black world, it's mostly men, right? It's mostly Black men, which is why I don't think we can trust Black men with our culture and our arts. And Black women, it's time to create spaces for Black art from Black Americans around the world. As Black Americans become more of a diaspora and more spread out around the world, I think Black women will be the guardians of Black art, because Black men have already shown that they believe that joining whiteness is the answer. So what do I think about them? Not much, not much. Right, I don't. I think that, that's why I talk to Black women. People comment. There's another comment that I read this week was something about what about for Black men? Good luck. No, there are Black men here in the community. Hi, friends. You can say hello if you want to, if you feel brave enough. There are Black men watching right now, live and on the replay. Hello. But I think in terms of like guarding, gatekeeping, protecting Blackness, Black people, I think Black women, we got. Here, Action VJ. I met Action VJ in Lisbon, and he lives in Lisbon in part because of me, right? So all of y'all commenting, but what about men? What about men? This is a man. He lives in Portugal because of my awesome YouTube channel, awesome help, awesome information. So, okay, I did one. There's one. Some of the women in community have spouses. That question came from your husband. That question came from Benita's husband. I don't think much about, hello, Benita's husband. I don't think, listen, seriously, I don't think, until y'all prove me otherwise, I don't think Black men can be trusted to be on our side or our, right? But you feel free to prove me wrong. I do see Black men talking online more in ways that I enjoy. I always say I don't want to hear men's voices. I don't want to hear men's voices. And it's often because they be saying some stuff and you be like, oh my God. They don't want liberation. They just want to be the ones in charge, right? But you do hear people getting better. There's some. Not all men. Hashtag not all men. Not all men. I think the solution is exodus. I think the solution is we leave the United States of America. Michael, I live in Bogota, Colombia, and I think that's the solution. I think exodus is the solution. I almost titled this video, Josephine, Maya, Nina, Tina, and me. That was the theme of Exodus Summit 2022. 2021? I don't know. One of the 2020s. I think that's the solution. I think if the people in power in the United States of America have gained the world and lost their souls, if they don't view people as human, because they're not human, right? If they're going to put all of their power and effort into perpetuating harmful, oppressive systems against us, I think we leave. I think my ancestors would be really shocked that I'm still in the United States, that if I was in the United States. See, I told y'all I'd be forgetting. I promise I'm in Bogota. I promise I'm in Bogota, Colombia. But I think if I was still in the United States, I think they would be shocked to know that. Especially the enslaved generations. That's at least 1,000 people. So if you go back, is it 12 generations? Great grandparents. You have 1,000 of them. 1,026? I don't know. Whatever 2 to the 12th power is. 2 to the 12th power. I don't have my phone here, but the Google will tell me. That's 4,000. So it must be the 10th power or the 11th power. 2,000, 2 to the 10th power, 2 to the 10th power. So that must be 11 generations. Oh no, I lost you. Where you at? Where you at? There you are. 1,000 people. So if we go back to 1650, that was 1,000 enslaved people to make one Stephanie. 1,000 enslaved people to make one you. If both sides of your family were enslaved, and for me, it's more like 6/8 of my family was formerly enslaved people, right? 1,000 people would be shocked to know that I still was American, quote unquote. They would be shocked. Girl, are you serious? Y'all still live here? I think they would be shocked. I think our tie to the United States is unnatural and unhealthy. I think our tie, tether, connection, our connection to the United States as the only option for us, I think it's unhealthy. I think it's also pathological. I think it comes from disease and trauma and not from healing. Because why? Why are we still there? Why are we still there? Can you imagine? I don't know how many people could fit in this apartment, but imagine that. I don't know that. let's see, high school. I think we had 2,000 students in my high school when we went to that school. So I can picture, yeah, and I can picture 1,000 people. I think every last one of them would be like, girl, you're still American? You're still here? Oh my God. Are you serious? 4,000 in your high school. We can picture 1,000 just from that generation, right? And then they made people and they made people and all those people made you. All of them ancestors with the connection to being enslaved in the US or the Caribbean, all those people with that drive is not strong enough, that drive to leave, that urge, drive. I don't have a strong enough word for what they wanted. It was not a drive to leave the United States. It wasn't an urge to leave. Stronger than drive. All those people behind me talking about, y'all still live there? What is you talking about? Are you serious? I really believe that. Why? Go someplace else. Go someplace else. Determination, pull, call to get up out of there. And we just there like, I'm going to make it nicer. Let me spruce it up a little bit. Okay? It's a jail cell. Let me spruce it. Let me make the best out of a bad situation. I think our need to have made the best out of a bad situation for generations has taught us that all we should want is to make the best out of a bad situation. But no, you can do better. You can have the best. You can have the best. Right? I think that having to put up with something is not the only way to live. And I think that we've lived for generations, but talking about DNA, right? For generations, we lived in a time when our people had to make the best of a bad situation. But not today. That day is not today. Welcome to liberation. Okay. That's the opposite. Liberation is the opposite of making the best of a bad situation. For a lot of times on this channel, the weekend of Mother's Day, I talk about like for 2 or 3 years in a row, we talked about if you have a narcissistic, abusive mother, how to cut her off. Okay. That's the time I'm on, right? Not that I have experience with that, but I have enough Black women friends who have experiences with that's a thing that we often talk about this weekend. But this is a similar conversation. Y'all be like, on Mother's Day weekend, this is what we're talking about? Yes, because some of my friends are hurting. And so we're going to talk about what they need. And what I learned, one of the first conversations we had with Danny, who is Danny Went No Contact on YouTube. If you're interested in this conversation, DANI, Danny Went No Contact. One of the things I learned from Danny is that healing and coping are different. We get confused on that. We get taught that the coping mechanisms are the pathway to healing. They're absolutely not. Coping is coping and healing is healing. And healing often requires leaving. Almost always, you can't heal in the same environment that harmed you. That's what I learned from Danny Went No Contact. And that's the time I'm on when we talk about your country. Okay, you can't heal in the environment that harmed you. I feel like, listen, somebody today is getting it, right? Some dots are connecting for somebody today. I feel it. I feel like I've had two. Last Saturday was also good. I feel like last Saturday, I got up early, drank my coffee, had a doctor's appointment before I went live last Saturday. So my brain was sharp. I don't know. I feel like you put these two videos together. Last Saturday was about the Great Black Migration. This Saturday is about the Great Black Migration. I don't know. I think I'm doing something here today. I think somebody today is like, oh, okay. So if you're like, oh, let me make a plan, join us in the Exodus Summit community. Yes, it costs $1. Okay. Okay. Don't get mad at me. It costs $1 because we left Facebook. But join us, exodussummit.com/community. If you're ready to start making a plan. We also have a paid membership called Exodus ASAP. This month is healthcare month. Rashida and I just did a session on Thursday inside of the Exodus ASAP membership on healthcare. We talked about how to find good healthcare providers in your place. A very strange and particular thing about the United States of America that you think is normal, that is absolutely not normal, is that your healthcare access, your access to affordable healthcare is linked to your work status. If you have a job, you can get insurance and you can probably get access to affordable healthcare. But that keeps you enslaved on a job. Enslaved, do I want to say that? Let's just say chained to a job. Let me take back enslaved. Let me say chained to a job. Although some of you are enslaved on jobs. I believe that. I believe that. If your job is in control of how you live your life, it's not a job. Okay, that's a master. Some of you have masters, right? Some of you have a master, but chained to a job. Insurance, healthcare access will often keep people chained to a job in the United States when that's not how it works in the rest of the world. A lot of the world has universal healthcare. Because you live there and you enroll, register, you have access to healthcare. Boom. Right? And so when I needed to make my GYN appointment down here, I just called a doctor. I didn't have an insurance company saying you can't have this test or that test. I didn't have anybody in charge of who I saw. I just went. Healthcare month in the Exodus ASAP membership, exodusasap.com. So this month we have women who are all over the world coming in to talk about their healthcare experiences. Some who had some sort of emergency healthcare situation or who had like a pre-planned surgery abroad or something. Okay, that's what's happening. Yeah. All right. So did I make my case? I feel like I don't know. I feel like this was very clear. I feel like there's not a lot of room for misunderstanding this week. I think I've been very clear on what I hope for Black people, for Black women in our families. I hope that what we do is work on our exodus. If you need help on the exodus, I've got a bunch of playlists. I'll link to them in the description. What's the Black migration, my Great Black Migration playlist? Let me link to that playlist here. Inside of that playlist, there are videos on how do you leave studio? How do you do it? So let me link to a playlist here so that you can see that. Content, playlists, Great Black Migration, get shareable link. Okay. Because one thing I'm not going to do is hide information from you, okay? I'm going to tell you how to do it. This channel has hundreds of videos. I don't know. A lot of them are conversations with other people who have done it. So you don't have to take my word for anything. You don't have to take my word for it. I bring in other people. They talk about how they did it too. Okay? Is that a rhetorical question, Ms. Zen? The answer is racism. The answer is racism. All right. They would absolutely rather not have it than see Black and brown people get it. Okay. White people will sacrifice their children. Y'all remember during the COVID how upset white people were that their kids had to wear masks to school? They will sacrifice their own children. They don't have souls, friend. Okay. It all comes down to racism. Okay. I don't know. You don't believe me. Okay. You don't believe me. You think I'm talking metaphorically when I say they're soulless people. It's literal. Okay, it's literal. Sometimes you see it. Black people like to refer to that as demonic, to soullessness as demonic. I don't know the difference. I don't know the difference, right? A Black person will be like, that's demonic, but they won't be like, white people have no souls. They cut. There's a line we'll draw, and we don't like to talk about certain things, but absolutely, I'm not being metaphorical. I literally believe that. I don't think it's possible to be bred into the families that they get bred into and still keep a soul. I don't think it's possible. I don't know. I tell y'all, like my grandfather, he was blind. He lived in the country. We would go visit him. He would be back he had a little line that he ran from the house to his little back porch. But porch was separate from the house. He had a little line, so he would just walk himself to the back porch. We would go visit him, pull up in the driveway, which was just the gravel, pull up in the gravel. And he'd be back in there just singing and humming and rocking, patting his foot, right? And so looking at 2 generations down, we're a very happy family. We're a very singing and patting and rocking type of family. I hum all day long. And then his sister lived next door. My great aunt lived next door. She would come over and they'd be just sitting back there. She'd be like, Russell, they'd just be talking and laughing. And then you wonder why I don't take things very seriously, why I'm a laughy, lighthearted person. Genetics, right? My other grandmother, she would just be sitting on the phone, just be cackling with her friends. Genetics. I am them and they are me. Same with these white people. Those same white people that bombed them churches, bombed Martin Luther King's house, that's their grandparents, their parents. And some of them people are still alive, right? That's them. It's bred into them. They don't have souls. I don't mean it figuratively. I mean it literally. I don't know what else I can say. The beautiful ones. See, beautiful ones. She says we all have souls. I disagree. I disagree. I don't think we all do. They all do. We all do. I think Black people, right? But they don't. So what do we do about it? We choose not to live with them. We choose not to live around them. We choose to raise our children in different environments and our grandchildren. And we choose to put ourselves in different environments. If you can understand leaving and not staying in not staying in contact with a narcissistic, abusive parent, you can understand leaving the United States of America. Right? If you can hear me say, I talked to Danny with no contact, and she talked about narcissistic maternal abuse. We've done it a couple of years on this channel, and then I've done, I think, 3 or 4 different Mother's Days in a row. That's what we talked about, because that's the time I'm on. Get up out of there. Them people are hurting you, leave them. Right? Leave them. I believe it. I don't care if it's your mama. I don't care if it's the white neighbor. Leave them. We can understand boycotting Amazon, and we can understand and boycotting Target. But you can't understand boycotting a country? Leave them. They can fix their mess. Or not. They can fix their mess, or they can suffer their consequences. Either way, Exodus, friends, please. I'm not a demon. You can't demonize me, the beautiful ones. I'm a Black person. My soul is intact. You can't demonize me. Or Black people. You absolutely can't. It's not about I don't want them to talk about me like this, so I'm not going to talk about them like this. I think that is a form of respectability that is only harmful to Black people. It doesn't harm white people. It doesn't harm the oppressor. It harms the oppressed. The idea of um, tread lightly, tippy toe, don't say things about them, only harms us. It don't hurt them, right? I'm done with respectability politics. I'm done with, but how will it look to them? I don't care what they do. I don't live with them. I've left them. I live in Bogota, Colombia. They can do what they want. They can treat me, they can not treat me. They can say what they want about me. If they believe that Black people are demons, whatever. They know we're not, because it's why they work so hard to keep us powerless. Okay, they know, but there's nothing a white person could do to convince me that we have that what they do or say about us is earned. It's them. They're the demons. I don't know what else to tell you. I sincerely believe it. You don't have to believe it to leave the country. Your move abroad can be based solely in, I've always wanted to live in XYZ country and now I'm living there. Or I've always wanted to visit, or I want to have a home in one place in Snowbird. I want to avoid winter weather or whatever. Your exodus can be about something else. This channel will still be helpful, but listen, I sincerely believe that these people have no souls. I don't know what else to tell you. And when people say they're demons, I think that's what they're saying. When people be like, that's demonic, I think that's what they're saying. They recognize that that's not a human person with an intact soul. I don't know. What about the Colombian people? Good question. Hi, Beans. So, Latino people, Latino people have been better to me. People around the world, but we're talking specifically about, because I live in Colombia. Latino people, Colombians, Costa Ricans, I spent a couple of years trying to move to Costa Rica and it just wasn't working. Mexicans, I spent many a year house sitting and visiting Mexico. They have been better to me than the very white people I grew up with. Right? There is a different, when you live around people with intact souls, when you live around people who believe in we before me, which is what I would say is the philosophy of a lot of peoples around the world. We is more important than me. It's a concept we don't even understand in the United States, because everything is rugged individualism. That when you live with people who are we before me, it'll change your life. It's why so many people who visit other places, Black people, cannot go back to living in the United States. You get around people who are collectivist instead of individualist, and they include you in the collective, you cannot go back to the United States where I am more important than you, where I am more important than my child, where I'm not wearing a mask, right? So maybe in the United States, you've seen Hispanic people and Hispanic people side with whiteness. Here, they don't do that. I don't know that they would call themselves white or what, but they are us. They are Colombians. They are Bogotans. This is not to say that there's not racism and colorism and all of the isms here, but it's to say the feeling, the people are better people. These are not Latino people who will pick up and leave their families behind and come to the United States to live better so that they can give money back to their family back here often feel like they have to buy into white supremacist ideologies to rise. People who don't live in the United States, they don't need to do all that. They live here. Well, no, white supremacy does have, it's far reaching, it's everywhere. I want to explain to you why I think they're better people, but all I can tell you is you have to see for yourself, right? You have to see for yourself. I don't have to buffer myself to be around these people in Colombia like I did in the United States. You have to prepare yourself. You got to put on your little armor. There's a whole list of rules, a whole list of do's and don'ts. I'm a reflection looker. If there is my reflection there, I'm looking. Okay? I don't care. If we're seated in a restaurant together and there's a mirror behind you, oh, friend, I'm having conversations with you, but I'm looking at me. Okay? If I'm walking down the street and I see my reflection, I'm looking, whether it's a car or a store window. I've had in the United States to train myself not to look in car windows, to look at my reflection, because people treat you differently as a Black person than any other person. Other people get to walk down the street and look in windows and whatever, and nobody's going to accuse them of anything. I'm a Black person. When I look at my reflection, people are going to be like, I think she's stealing. She's breaking into these cars, right? There are whole systems, whole rule books that we have to play by in the United States that you don't have to play by when you live out of the United States. Nobody cares if I'm looking in reflections in cars here. I've been pepper sprayed by a security guard in the United States, so I don't play about receipts in the US. You're going to give me my receipt. I'm not walking out of this store. I saw Roy Wood Jr. do I don't remember, was it stand-up? Was it a stand-up thing or was he sitting down talking on a show? Anyway, it must have been a part of his stand-up. And he was like, you're going to give me, and he started saying it out loud, and every Black person, it was a stand-up. Every Black person in the audience was like, my receipt. He was talking about leaving the Best Buy and buying a video game and something. And they were like, do you want it? And every Black person finished the sentence for him. He was like, no, you're going to give me. And every Black person in that audience was like, my receipt. We all know that. We all know that. Meanwhile, here, girl, here they check everyone's receipts in certain stores. And I'll be like, oh, shoot, where I put it? Right. Whereas in the United States, I don't play about my receipt. You're not pepper spraying me. I was pepper sprayed by a security guard. I'm not playing about my receipt. Here, I'll be like, oh, that's right. Oops. Let me find, did I even get a receipt? Let me find it. Let me find this thing, right? There are entire rule books that you know to play by in the United States because you're Black that you don't have to play by in other places. I don't know how to explain to you why it's different living with Colombians here or Mexicans in Mexico versus Mexicans in the United States, except to say it's different. They're different. They're different people. Try it. I hope you'll try it and see. It's why people who leave for chunks of time, if you leave for a month or 2 months or 3 months, you're very highly likely to figure out how to leave for long term because it's so good. It feels so good. It feels so good in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, in your soul. It feels so good to not be around them white people. I've been treated really well by people all over the world. And some of those same people, maybe some of them, if they lived in the US, they would not be good people. But I think the US is doing that to them. Try it and see. You tell me. But what you don't see in this chat is anybody disagreeing with that fact. You see people disagreeing when I say white people don't have souls. You don't see people saying people in Colombia, Costa Rica, Mexico treat you so much better than you're used to. I'm looking. Any objections to that? Ain't nobody disagreeing with that. These women have been worldwide. Okay. These women are worldwide, have been and are currently worldwide. I know it sounds strange. I know it sounds strange because these are Mexicans. My neighbors are Mexicans and they got Trump flags. It's different. They're different people, right? Mexico, Mexicans, and Mexican Americans are two different people. Treat them like that, okay? Colombians, they're different people. I'm not saying that there's no colorism and racism in Colombia. That would be ridiculous of me to say. I'm saying I, Stephanie Perry, am treated better and I feel good. I feel better here. I wouldn't take my time and effort to move someplace if the people made me feel bad, which is why I don't enjoy Australia. In Australia, their racism is not aimed at Black people. They don't really have Black people like that, right? But it's aimed at Aboriginal people who look like Black people. And you feel it. You feel it. You know, just in conversation, because I did some work exchanges in Australia, things would come up in conversation. I'd be like, oh, okay, so they don't believe these people are humans. These white Australians don't believe Aboriginal people are humans. Okay, got it. But also just seeing just the energy, like being at like a mall or something, seeing an Aboriginal family, feeling the energy, the way that they're treated, the way that they're looked at, the way that they're regarded or disregarded, it feels real familiar. And I don't recommend Black people move to Australia, right? It's a big country and still, I don't recommend you move there. But here, you know, está bueno. Life is good. I'm feeling good here. I would tell you otherwise. Okay. I didn't move to Costa Rica because I just couldn't make it work. I couldn't find a neighborhood in San Jose that I really liked and whatever. But it wasn't the people. Costa Ricans are top tier. I have a ranking. Costa Ricans, Black South Africans, Bermudans, Fijians, those are top tier people. Costa Rica didn't work out for me because I wanted a specific home. And Costa Rica is very condo. Either you're in a condo or I couldn't find a home that felt homey. Seriously, that's why I don't live in Costa. And I don't like the look of San Jose. I think San Jose, Costa Rica is one of the uglier cities in Latin America. Latin America, one thing the Europeans did when they came to Latin America is they put up some beautiful churches, right? There's a certain look to cities in Latin America that Costa Rica doesn't have. And so that's why that's why I'm not there. I tried to make it work and I tried neighborhood after neighborhood and apartment building and condo and house and Airbnb. Just couldn't find a place in Costa Rica that I was like, now I can sit down and I can't wait for people to come visit me. Katrina was like, I'm so glad you didn't move there. After being in Bogota, which is still not her cup of tea. It's not a place that she would choose. It's chilly, right? She was like, girl, if you moved to Costa Rica, I don't know when I would see you again. Right? So what was I saying? Anyway, explain why I didn't move to Costa Rica. Oh, top tier people. They're still my favorite people. Top tier. Top tier. Okay, how's things? I don't know about this. Shayla T is asking, is it true that Mexicans who have been in the US for generations don't feel the same as Mexican Americans who, I don't know if that's the case because I think Mexicans, I think that they kept a family connection. Mexicans in Mexico have family in the US, Mexicans in the US, Mexican Americans have family in Mexico. They kept a link. So I don't know that they feel that. Mexican Americans, in my experience, they definitely feel superior to Black people. But when you be in Mexico, they be so happy to see you. Come to the Exodus Summit meetup in Mexico City next weekend. You're going to see, they be so happy to see Black women. Just so happy. Rashida and I were here in Colombia on my scouting trip, December of 2024, January of 2025. And a woman in the grocery store, first, when we were walking into the grocery store, two Colombian women, were having a little mini conversation, and they stopped and greeted us. And they were just women leaving the store, or one was leaving, one was coming or something. They stopped their conversation to greet us, not workers, not employees. Stopped their conversation to greet us. We get in the store, and the woman who's working in the store puts her hand over her heart and she bows a little bit when she says her buenos tardes or buenos dias. They'd be so happy to see Black women. They'd be so happy. There is an understanding among some people around the world of what Black American people have done for the world. In terms of the civil rights movement having a far reach, our civil rights movement was informed by other civil rights movements around the world, but also heavily informed other civil rights movements. There are people around the world who have the rights they have because Black people took up the fight in the United States. There are people who recognize that. There are people who recognize Black art, music, literature, dance, communication. There are people who recognize Black art as impactful in their lives. And that means that when we go places, Black women are often greeted more warmly than you would expect. When Amina and I and Angela had breakfast in San Miguel de Allende, or was that me and Rashida? This was also me and Rashida. Angela and Amina and I went to that same restaurant later. This is two different experiences. But when the abuela, we were sitting at a restaurant, happened to be in San Miguel de Allende. There's a lot of white Americans and Canadians, lots of white faces. San Miguel is whiter than you want it to be, okay? But it's a beautiful town that Black women love moving to, whether it's long-term or at least as a transition period into Mexico. Casa Elm is one of the places that Black women love staying in San Miguel de Allende. Casa Elm and Hacienda Elm. Elm, expat life, Mexico. Anyway, so there's lots of white people. There's lots of other people who are clearly not Mexicans in this restaurant. But that abuela, soon as she saw me and Rashida, she coming in the door with either her daughter or granddaughter on her arm. Girl, she locked eyes with us, and she was so happy to see us. Imagine, imagine you're just sitting down having a breakfast in a place that you love. It's an outdoor patio restaurant, right? Trees, and it's beautiful, and the environment is beautiful, and the food is good. And that woman saw us. Buenos dias, buenos dias. The whole way to her seat, she not looking where the granddaughter is walking her. She looking at us. Buenos dias. Everybody in there. Almost every table, at least more than half the tables, were other foreign people. She was smiling and greeting the Black women. There is a different welcome. People often recognize me as Black American, right? Often. I think it's a combination of my height. In South Africa, it was my height. They would start speaking Zulu, and then they would be like, first of all, she don't speak Zulu. When one was like, you don't speak Zulu? I was like, no, I don't speak Zulu. And then she was like, oh, that would explain why you're 8 feet tall. Between the height and the clothing, and I think the hair, I think that having your big out natural hair is seen as a very American way to wear your hair. Black American. People often know I'm Black American as soon as they lock eyes on me. And they'd be happy to see me. They'd be happy to see us. I've been to Black women meetups around the world, and people just be happy to see us. They also know that we have a hard life in the US, and they'd be like, I'm glad y'all got out of that. But I think it's about the art, and I think it's about the impact we've had around the world. Maybe the tattoos also, maybe. I don't always, you can't always see that I have tattoos, but there people immediately, almost always in most places where I think I'm going to blend in, they be like, hello, good morning. They be switching to English on me, right? I was in Brazil and I was like, oh, they're going to think I'm Brazilian. Ah, this is going to be awesome. I was in uh, Black Brazil, Salvador de Bahia, right? And this man yells across the street at me. No, we were on a boat. We were on a boat tour. He yells across the boat at me, I love you, America. I'm like, okay, obrigado, obrigado. Right? I think some of it might be also the smiling. We smile and we say hello a little more. In Latin America, they often say buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches, but they don't be smiling as much. They do be smiling, but they don't be smiling as much. So I think it's the expression on our faces. We just look so happy to be here. They know I'm American, whatever language they speak. They switch to English if they can, if they know it. But they be happy to see us. Vietnam, girl. When we went to Vietnam, somewhere between 80 and 100 Black women got together in Vietnam, February of 2024. Royalty. Treated like royalty. They be happy to see us. Casa Elm. Oh, the restaurant, Rustica. It's yeah. You can look it up. Was it in walking distance to Casa Elm? If you feel like taking a walk, if you feel like having a good walk, sure. They are different people. You'll have different treatment. See for yourself, though. See for yourself. Okay. I'll tell you. I can tell you, but you're not going to believe it until you experience it. But it's exactly why that difference between people when you leave the United States is exactly why so many people don't come back. Right? Why if they do come back, they make a plan to stay gone. We wouldn't do it. We wouldn't work so hard to exodus, right? We wouldn't put in so much effort to leave the country if it was just going to be more of the same, right? That alone should be evidence to you, proof to you that is better. The people, the treatment is better. The quality of life is better. Whether it's a better cost of living depends on how you want to live. I think I'm probably spending about as much here in Bogota as I would if I lived in Dover, Delaware. But my quality of life is better. I got more space, more access to services, things that I would have to do for myself in Delaware on this same budget. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've looked at apartment prices, right? So I got 4 bedrooms, a 2-story. It's like a house, but it's in an apartment building. I got 2 stories, 4 bedrooms, $2,100 a month. Depends on what the dollar and the peso are doing, Colombian peso, right? I think my rent in Delaware would be about $2,000 a month today, but I would have 1 or 2 bedrooms, right? And I would do my own laundry. And I don't have a house. I still don't have a housekeeper, y'all. I know it's like my thing. It's like my thing that I tell you to do first, get a housekeeper and get somebody else to do your laundry. And I still haven't done it here, but it's more out of laziness and more out of like, what day of the week? Like somebody make the decision for me. It's decision fatigue more than it is not wanting it. I'm in a period of fatigue, decision fatigue, all of the fatigues. I'm tired, boss. If somebody came and arranged a housekeeper for me, I would be like, good, right? But I'm not doing the things. Part of it is I think I'm having a hormonal changes. So me and my gynecologist gonna work that out, or somebody, whoever works on those things, we're gonna work them out. But I wouldn't want to feel this blah in the United States. In the United States, this blah would be full prolonged depression. Here, it's like a little decision fatigue, a little inaction. Yeah, inaction. In the US, it would be full blown depression. It would be full blown mental crisis. Here, it's just, I'm doing everything last minute. If it doesn't need to be done, it's not getting done. All right. Can I hire a house manager? All of that requires somebody, all of that requires me to be on it. And I'm just not on it right now. Every month, I'm like, next month is the month that I'm going to get my stuff together. I'm going to be so on it. And every month, I'm like, oh, I'm not on it. So I have some blood work coming up to see if I need some hormonal support. My gynecologist made the mistake of telling me, so here they just be like, get this test, this test, this test, right? You walk into the lab. If you have insurance, you use your insurance. If you don't have insurance, you pay cash. Everything is reasonably priced. So it's less about like getting referrals and getting appointments. It's just like, when am I going to do it? Another decision I am too tired to make. Right? Whereas if she would have been like, if in the US, it would have been more of a struggle probably to get these tests, or I probably wouldn't be getting these tests in the United States because I don't have a real complaint, right? She doesn't have a real thing to write down for an insurance company to approve. So I probably wouldn't be getting them in the US anyway. But if I did, it would be like more prescriptive. Here, getting tests done is relatively free form. My insurance company will come to the house and do it. They'll do my tests right here in my house, right? So then I got to decide, do I want them to come here or do I want to go there? My insurance company also has labs, right? So it's really, do I want them to come here? Do I want to go there? What day do I want to do it? The decision fatigue, the decisions are simple. And still I'm like, I haven't made these decisions. Right? I could use somebody to make them for me. Right? Let's see about Just Me says my mom had hormone replacement. Black women don't talk to each other about that stuff. Yeah, they'll be in PC women face grinning. PC women. I don't get the last part of that comment. Yeah, so I have a couple homegirls who are new to hormone replacement. It may be time. It may be time for that. I don't know. I'm trying to transition out of self-diagnosing. Let me tell you this. In the United States of America, I pretty much had opted out of receiving health care. I am an opt-out person, in case you don't know this about me. If it doesn't work for me, if it doesn't feel good, I'm not participating. I am a non-participant in a lot of things. I'm not telling you to live this way. It causes problems. But one of the things that I had opted out of in the United States is healthcare. And now that I'm in a place where I get better care, I'm trying to teach myself to opt back in. Except for one, my dad and I had the same general doctor, except for her. And she was a woman she's not a white woman. One day my dad was like, do you think she's Black? And I was like, I think she is, but I'm not sure. We have some families in Delaware that if you know their name, you know that they're Black, but you wouldn't know they were Black to look at them. But she doesn't have one of those names. And so I was like, I think she's Black. Anyway, I had one doctor in my 50 years of living in the United States, or 40 some years of living in the United States, where I was like, I got the same treatment I would have gotten if I were a white woman, right? All my other healthcare experiences, I'm like, if I were a white woman, this would have been different. I would have been taken more seriously. My baby would still be alive, right? Like all these things would be different if I were a white woman. So at some point, I opted out of healthcare in the United States, and I'm paying the price for that. And I am trying to unlearn that here in a place where they don't have the same issues. I think medical racism in the United States has done a harm to me that I'll be undoing for the rest of my life. And I think that and healing from for the rest of my life. And I think that being here is helpful. being here is helpful. And so, opting out. So I having been a person who opted out of healthcare in the United States because it was garbage. It was worse than garbage. Is what I'm which is a thing that I'm unlearning here. So a day at a time. So my doctor says get these tests. Part of the problem is I have decision fatigue. That's why I haven't had them tests done. Part of the problem is I'm unlearning medical racist. I'm healing from this trauma in a way that slowly. I'm healing from this trauma slowly. So I don't know. Y'all have to come down and see, right? Y'all have to go to a place where when you get there, people are nice to you and the weather fits your needs, and see for yourself. I can tell you all day that you can have better neighbors, you can have better healthcare experiences, you can have better quality of life, but sometimes you just need to see for yourself. We're collecting it. Okay, hi, the wellness fairy. Hi. We keep collecting layers of trauma like scar tissue. And dealing with the scar tissue is also painful. Right? And so I'm working a step at a time. When I went to this GYN, she was like, why has it been so long since you've been and I was like, girl, I'm Black. Okay. I'm Black. Okay. It's different. Okay. I lived in the US and I'm Black. It's different. Even in the Army where healthcare was free, I did not have good experiences. And so we keep growing. We keep healing, right? We don't heal in the same place that harmed you. So we remove ourselves, we heal, and we don't cope, right? Coping for me in the US would probably look like sucking it up. That's not really coping. What would coping look like? I don't know. But instead, I was like, I don't want to cope with this situation. I'm going to heal. I'm going to come here. I'm going to heal. I'm going to make my doctor's appointments one at a time. I'm going to get them to lecture me one at a time. They be like, why has it been so long? Listen, girl, okay? I'm Black. That's why it's been so long. Okay? Now tell me what to do now. Let's start. Can we start from here, please? Can we debride? What is it? Is it called debriding scar tissue? Is that debriding? Can we get some of this scar tissue? Remove some of the scar tissue? Please, can you help me? I'll let you lecture me for a few minutes. Then we got to move on. We got to drive on. Okay, I'm Black. I think getting medical care, even going to a pharmacy in another country will change your idea of what healthcare could look like, right? Because if for most things that are prescription in the United States, you just walk into a pharmacy in other countries and you just get it because you need it. Why are they going to hold this back for you? Get it because you need it, except for Schedule 2 narcotics. Schedule 2, what are the schedule? Oh my gosh, I'm losing my pharmacy tech mind. I think Schedule 2, 3, and 4 narcotics. Maybe Schedule 2 and 3 narcotics. Concerta, what is Concerta? Some of the ADHD medications you still need a prescription for. Is Concerta Schedule 2? I can't believe I'm forgetting these things. Concerta is Schedule 2. So I believe, except for Schedule 2 narcotics, you walk into a pharmacy and you get what you need. Whether you've taken it before or not, right? You want to be a responsible person, a responsible body steward, a responsible steward of your body. You want to make sure that the doctor, that, you and your doctor agree on these things. They'll write it down. Your doctor will write down what you need, but the pharmacist does not take that paper. The pharmacist doesn't look at the paper. If you can say it in Espanol, they don't need that paper. Right? That's why so many people cross the border and get their drugs. Insulin, right? It's so many things that have such that you need to live, that have such a hurdle to receive in the United States. You just come and get them down here. That's a thing that opens your eyes to what life could be and what healthcare could be. First time I went to a pharmacy, I was house sitting in Mexico, and I felt like maybe it was allergies or something. I couldn't tell what was going on. So I went to the pharmacy, and in Espanol, I was like, me duele la cabeza, and mi nariz es, whatever the word for llenar, something. My nose is full and my head hurts, right? And they were like, oh, okay, well, let's give you this and this and try that and come back later. The pharmacist acts more like the pharmacist is a doctor. A pharmacist is a trusted medical professional. And that was really helpful, right? Now, she didn't, what that pharmacist gave me, I don't think any of it would have been prescription in the US. But I also would not have had a healthcare professional for free tell me, here's some things I think will help you. Right? I don't know. I can't imagine where you go in the United States for free and give them your symptoms and they say, here's some things. And then you pay for the drugs only. Right? And I've done this, right? Rappi is the delivery system that I use down here in Colombia. There's Rappi and the other one. Whatever. I use Rappi. Right, here's what I need. When I fell, well, those weren't prescription things. I don't think I've gotten any, there's nothing that I've gotten that would have been prescription in the US. But like when I needed my bandages and stuff, deliver that to my house, please. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving here. Deliver it to me. You get your Ozempic. My one of my homegirls was like, can you price Ozempic down here? Now, I went to 2 pharmacies and they both were like, what? No, we don't have that. So I don't know if I needed to do my Googles. I couldn't find it. But yeah, you just serious, like literally, you're joking, but literally that's what it is. You walk in, you don't even have to mention your doctor. I need this, this, and this. Here it is. Here's the price. I went with a friend when we did the caravan, the residency caravan, when I got my residency. I showed the card earlier. When I got my residency in Mexico and we did the caravan, one of the women in the caravan, I went to the pharmacy with her. She couldn't get her Concerta or Adderall, the ADHD, whatever she's taking for ADHD. She couldn't get that over the counter. And then she wanted a skin, some prescription skin thing. I don't know if it was a retinol or something that's prescription in the US. And so he was like, here it is $6, I think, but you get 4 for $22 or something. He was like, just take 4. She was like, girl, I pay $40 for this in the US, right? She got 4 for the price of half, 4 for the price of a half, right? That's what I always say. There's care in healthcare. When you leave the United States, oh, sorry. Hi, Kelly. I'm trying to get your thing on the screen. Hi, Kelly. There's care in healthcare. When you leave the United States, there's care in healthcare, which is why I think when I said I'll spend the rest of my life healing from US medical racism, maybe not the rest of my life. maybe I can do that in a couple years, because you can heal and then live healed. Maybe I'll be living healed before the end of days. Okay. But yeah, there's care in healthcare, right? Even the idea of getting things in-house, house calls and home testing, that is a way of caring not just for you, but for other patients. Don't come here sick, infecting other people. We're going to come to you. There is care in healthcare when you leave the United States. And it's one of the things that gets people out the door. It's one of the things that makes people say, I want to live somewhere else. I want to live someplace where they do this. It's indicative of the soul that some people have that white American people do not have, right? That soul, and so there's one of the symptoms of the soullessness of white American people is their healthcare for-profit system. Healthcare is a profit generator for a few shareholders, as opposed to being actual healthcare. I think that's one of the big symptoms of their soullessness. I believe that. Okay. So I'm a fan. I'm on the pharmacist side in the United States. So I was a pharmacy technician. I'm on the pharmacist side. Pharmacists do the best they can, but in the United States, there's a different, outside the United States, pharmacists are, that's the healthcare professional, and you can go see them and they will help you. It's hard to talk to a pharmacist in the US and get like, they're restricted, right? Because insurance company wants to have the say. They don't want a healthcare professional to have the say. They want somebody with a calculator to have the say on what care you get and don't get. I'm on the pharmacist side. Pharmacists are some good people. You know, I believe in generalizing. People who go into pharmacy, when I meet y'all and y'all be like, I'm a pharmacist, almost every meetup, somebody be like, I'm a pharmacist. I'm like, oh, then you must be a good person. Even in the United States healthcare system, pharmacy attracts good people. That's been my experience. I've had a whole hella jobs. As y'all say on the West Coast, I've had hella jobs. And I would say pharmacy attracts good people with good hearts. They're just restricted by insurance companies. I love pharmacists. Okay, good. I love pharmacists. I really do. I've only worked in 2 different hospitals as a pharmacy technician, right? But I'm gonna use that limited data to say pharmacists, good people. They're just restricted by insurance companies and the other drug companies and a healthcare system that is not about care. It's about shareholder profits. Yeah, stake in your illness, Carolyn McDowell. Hey, Carolyn. In the US, they are stakeholders in your illness rather than in your wellness. Absolutely right. I think the healthcare system, I think transportation systems, I think education systems around the world will open your eyes to what life could be. Don't mess around and go to a place that's known for all 3. Don't mess around and go to like Tokyo, where their transportation system was so impressive to me. It was coming from Delaware, where we don't have rapid transit. Don't go to a place that's known for all 3. You'll be like, oh, I can never live in the United States of America again. Never, ever, ever. Okay. Yeah. I think this is a symptom of the problem. And I think the problem is the soullessness. Y'all call it capitalism, right? Y'all call it demons. All of it is one ball. It's one rubber band ball. They all go together. They all make one thing. That thing is the United States of America. And we can live somewhere else. Be happy. Okay, how did we do? How did we do today? If you didn't hit the like button, please hit the like button. I haven't seen Lady Sarita in a while. She's usually my like button warrior. So let's do her job for her. Instead of her, she's not here to tell y'all to hit the like button. So I'm here to tell y'all, please hit the like button before you go. If you know a Black woman who would be interested in this conversation, feel free to share it with her. And make sure that you're in the Exodus Summit community, exodussummit.com/community. If you're a Black woman, join us. If you're interested in leaving the United States, whether it's for a significant amount of time or forever, or you're not sure, join us. Yes, I normally say Black women and families when I'm not rushing. Black women and families, married people, solo people, moms, queer moms, whatever's. Black women and families is how I would say this if I was being thorough. Black women and families. Join us in the Exodus Summit community and make sure that you're subscribed to my channel before you go, if you don't mind. That way we can be more help to each other. Just because this conversation was very heavy on talking about white people doesn't mean that's what I talk about on this channel. Okay. I talk about leaving. I talk about leaving the United States. I'm the co-founder of Exodus Summit, a community of Black women who are planning or who have already done their exodus. And so mostly we talk about how to leave, right? Where to go, maybe where not to go, and how to make this transition. And so that's that. See you next week at the meetup. Kat will be in the Mexico City meetup. Kat is Rebloom Room. She'll be at the meetup in Mexico City. And then maybe she'll get to come to Bogota and hang out. I done changed her plans for her without realizing it. I changed her plans, but hopefully she'll be down here in Mexico City sometime soon as well. Yeah. And then I saw another comment about a meetup. I think Savannah. Yeah. Hi, Sylvia. Sylvia Brown wants y'all to know Savannah, Georgia. There's a meetup May 23rd. Oh, Lady Sarita's here? I don't see. Oh, hey. All good. Hi, Lady Sarita. Yeah. Lots of meetups happening now that the weather has thawed out. More in-person meetups are taking place. There's still some online meetups as well. So if you go to the Exodus Summit community at exodussummit.com/community, you'll see some meetups. Rashida, Francis, and I just had a meeting on Tuesday to clarify what meetups get posted. So you'll see some changes. For a while, we were posting meetups that were for events, like if you're going to a jazz concert together. We're not doing that. So now those meetups are no longer called meetups. They're under the community. They're under the section for that city, but they're not under the events section. And maybe I shouldn't have started this. Francis has a more clear explanation in the community. And then online meetups, we are posting the online meetups in the events section now. We're just trying to make sure you can find the things that you're there to find. As far as we're concerned, a meetup is y'all getting together and being able to talk about your Exodus plans or dreams or strategies. And if you're going to a jazz festival together, that's not what y'all are doing. So we're not calling them meetups, but we are and so they're not under the event section, but they are under that community section. So like if there is something happening in Savannah, let's say, it would be, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten into that. Am I being clear? So if you're going to be at a carnival, yes, that can be. It's not going to be an event under the meetup section. Events are meetups where you're talking, but it can be listed under that city or country's section. Two sections, all right? There are sections. There are channels for locations. So you can communicate with people under that location, under that channel, but the events are going to be meetups only. Francis will make this more clear in the community. And then if you have questions, just holler at us. Holler at Francis. You can holler at me, but listen, I am not the most responsive person, but holler at Francis, okay? Lady Sarita says 30 more likes would be greatly appreciated, okay? Please embrace the like button. Please embrace the subscribe button, and please embrace the share button, okay? Okie dokie. Oh, you know what else I didn't do? I'm sorry. I hope you're still here. Hi, Patricia R. Thank you very much for this super sticker. I hope you're still here. Happy Saturday. And I saw Benita's super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat, Benita. Thank you kindly. You know, the money goes to the Vicarian Sabbatical Fund. The Vicarian Sabbatical Fund has sent a Black woman to the Peace, Not Pieces Healing Retreat, which is happening next week. In the next few days, this month, in San Miguel de Allende at Casa Elm. So that's super chat money and the money from the merch And the money from Patreon, that money gets pooled into the Vicarian Sabbatical Fund, and we give it to Black women. So we're sending a Black woman to the Peace, Not Pieces Healing Art Retreat in San Miguel de Allende this month. And we put some money towards the Girls Gone Global trip to Ghana. So thank you. That's where the money goes. And last week you gave me some money to give to Dr. Maya. Was that 2 weeks ago? You gave me money to give to Dr. Maya, which I need to send to her. You gave her some lunch money, so I need to send her some lunch money. So thank you for that super chat / merch / Patreon money. We still need to figure out what's next for that fund. Right now, it's just a pot of cash that when I see somebody needs it, I give it to them and then I tell you about it. Okay, so we put $500 in the Girls Going Global pot. We put $500 in that pot. Our goal for the Exodus Summit community was to raise $10,000, and we raised $15,000. Thank you, friend. So 100 Black girls from the United States, high school aged, are going to Ghana in July. And 250 girls from Ghana for the Global Girls Leadership Conference. And 250 girls from Ghana and 100 girls from the US are going to the Global Girls Leadership Conference in Accra, Ghana in July. And we contributed to that. This is a multi-six-figure endeavor, and we contribute $15K to that. Thank you. Thank you. A formal thank you email should have gone out this week, and it'll go out next week. Okay, we'll send a formal thank you email to all of you. It is impressive. It is impressive. It is beautiful. We're very proud of that. We're very proud of this community. So between the Exodus Summit community and the Vicarian Sabbatical Fund, thank you. And thank you. We're very proud of it. Now I think that's everything that I needed to tell you. Peace, Not Pieces. Now, last time I heard, there was still one slot for the retreat. So if you've heard me talk about San Miguel de Allende and you've heard the title Peace, Not Pieces Healing Retreat, and you're like, oh, that's exactly what I need. It's for women healing from abuse. And it's an art healing retreat. And there's like a Mexican artist. Michelle is a Black woman from the US, or Black woman. Yeah, from the US. I don't know why I went back on that. She's a Black woman from the US who runs Casa Elm in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. And she is the creator of Peace, Not Pieces. And it's very soon. 17th is very soon. But if you're available, I believe she had one more spot left on the retreat. If she doesn't, don't be mad at me. Okay, but I just linked to that in the description. This is the link. When you go to the link, it'll first have you put in your name and email address, and then it'll take you to the page with information about the art therapy retreat. Okay, yeah, so we canceled our meetup in Ghana, but that doesn't mean we don't support people going to Ghana. So we help to send those girls from the US to Ghana and the girls from Ghana to the leadership retreat. And we're glad about that. So thank you. Thank you kindly. Okay. Hi, Minnie. Okay. I think that's awesome. Thank you, Kyoka. Kyoka was one of the women who shared. I saw Kyoka share that out there. Done. I didn't send a follow-up email. So if you didn't go back to the website, you didn't know. I didn't send the follow-up email. So if you didn't go back to the website, you don't know that the fundraiser was a raging success. But I'll link to it again, because if it's going to, there's no such thing as too much money, I don't think, for the Girls Going Global nonprofit. I don't think there's any such thing as too much money. So we hit our goal, but that doesn't mean that that's all the money they need. This is an expensive proposition. So this is the Give Butter link if you still want to contribute. The conference is in July of 2026. July of 2026. But this is something that she's done annually since, or she's done something annually since, I believe, 20. Is my notebook? This is my notebook for notes. We just talked to Martise. Anyway, it's been quite a while that she's been doing something with Black girls going internationally. I don't have the right notebook. So if you're watching this later, that link may link you to some other fundraiser for the Girls Going Global community. Okay? Y'all, I really need some sun. Look at my face. Look at my face. I'm rubbing like it looks like I have a makeup line, but I don't have any makeup on up here. I have a little bit. I've got makeup from here to here. I just look I look unblended. I need some sun. They talking about El Nino is going to cause may cause some droughts down here. So I can't complain. We don't need more sun if we're not going to get more rain down here. We don't want droughts. But y'all, look at my face. That's not me, man. That's not me. Ooh, okay. The High Voodoo Priestess Amore says, beautiful conversation. May you all be abundant and protected during this time of reset. Thank you, our good sister. Thank you, friend. Okay, we'll leave that as our benediction. All right, happy weekend. Yeah, happy weekend, happy May. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Thank you for making this a good conversation, not just me, but us. The conversation has to be us. Okay. So thank you very much for this conversation, for this time together. I hope that you enjoyed it and have a wonderful weekend. Take good care, friends. I'll see you guys very soon. Some of you I'll see in Mexico next weekend. Bye.